The human voice is the instrument that we all play. It's the most powerful sound in the world. Probably it's the only one that can start a war or say, I love you. And yet many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. Why is that?
How can we speak powerfully to make change in the world? What I would like to suggest that there is a number of habits that we need to move away from. I've assembled for your pleasure the 7 sins of speaking, habits that we can all fall into.
First, gossip, speaking ill of somebody who is not present. Not a nice habit, and we know perfectly well the person gossiping 5 minutes later will be gossiping about us. Second, judging. We know people who are like this in conversation, and it's very hard to listen to somebody if you know that you are being judged. Third, negativity. You can all fall into this. My mother in the last years of her life became very, very negative, and it's hard to listen. I remember one day I said to her, "It's October the 1st today," and she said, "I know it isn't dreadful." It's hard to listen when somebody's that negative. Another form of negativity is complaining.
Well, this is the national art of the UK. It's our national sport. We complain about the weather, about sport, about politics, about everything. But actually, complaining is viral misery. It's not spreading sunshine and lightness in the world. Excuses. We've all met this guy. Maybe we've all been this guy. Some people have a blame thrower. They just pass it on to everybody else. They don't take responsibility for their actions. And again, hard to listen to someone who is being like that. Penultimately, the 6th of the 7th, embroidery, exaggeration. It demeans our language actually sometimes. For example, if I see something that really is awesome, what do I call it? And finally, dogmatism, the confusion of facts with opinion. When those two things get conflated, you're listening into the wind.
So here they are, 7 deadly sins of speaking. These are things I think we need to avoid. But is there a positive way to think about this? Yes, there is. I would like to suggest that there are 4 really powerful cornerstones, foundations that we can stand on if we want our speech to be powerful and to make change in the world.
Fortunately, these things spell a word. The word is hail. And it has a great definition as well. I'm not talking about the stuff that falls from the sky and hits you on your head. I'm talking about this definition. To grate or acclaim enthusiastically, which is how I think our words will be received if we stand on these 4 things. So what do they stand for? The H, honesty, of course, being true in what you say, being straight and clear. The A is authenticity, just being yourself. A friend of mine described it as standing in your own truth, which is, I think, a lovely way to put it. The I is integrity, being your word, actually doing what you say and being somebody people can trust. And the L is love. I don't mean romantic love, but I do mean wishing people well. For 2 reasons. First of all, I think absolute honesty may not be what we want, but tempered with love, of course, honesty is a great thing. But also, if you're really wishing somebody well, it's very hard to judge them at the same time. I'm not even sure you can do those 2 things simultaneously.
So, hail! You have an amazing toolbox. This instrument is incredible, and yet this is a toolbox that very few people have ever opened. But it will increase the power of your speaking. Register, for example, falsetto register may not be very useful most of the time, but there's a register in between. You can locate your voice, so if I talk up, here in my nose, you hear the difference. If I go down in my throat, which is where most of us speak, from most of the time. But if you want weight, you need to go down here, to the chest.
We vote for politicians with lower voices. It's true, because we associate depth with power. Then we have timbre, It's the way your voice feels. Again, research shows that we prefer voices that are rich, smooth, warm, like hot chocolate.
Then prosody. I love prosody. This is the sing-song, the meta-language that we use in order to impart meaning. People who speak on one note are really quite hard to listen to. If they don't have any prosody at all, also we have repetitive prosody now coming in, where every sentence ends as if it were a question. Where it's actually not a question, but a statement.
Pace. I can get very, very excited by saying something really, really quickly, or I can slow right down to emphasise.
And then, at the end of that, of course, is our old friend, silence. There's nothing wrong with a bit of silence in a talk, is there?
And finally, volume. I can get really excited by using volume, or I can have you really pay attention by getting very, very quiet. Some people broadcast the whole time. Try not to do that. That's called sodcasting.
Of course, where this mostly comes in play, most of all, is when you have got something really important to do. It might be standing on a stage like this and giving a talk to people. It might be proposing marriage, asking for a raise, a wedding speech, whatever it is. If it's really important, you owe it to yourself to look at this toolbox.
Now let me just put this in context to close. This is a serious point here. This is where we are now. We speak not very well to people that are simply not listening in an environment that is all about noise with bad acoustics. What would the world be like if we were speaking powerfully to people who were listening, consciously, in environments that were actually fit for purpose? Or to make that a bit larger, what would the world be like if we were creating sound consciously and consuming sound consciously and designing all our environments consciously for sound? That would be a world that does sound beautiful, and one where understanding would be the norm, and that is an idea worth spreading. Thank you.
Thanks.